Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about land business automation, which wraps up this week. The theme for this week is, so you've completed 10 deals, now what? Automating all of this stuff is one of the greatest things about this business.
You know what's interesting is I don't think that people think of this as something you can automate. I'm sure they think of making a widget, making sunglasses, making any kind of a product. Of course you automate that. Maybe you started a soap business in your garage, like we see it on Shark Tank all the time. Like, I'm making my own lavender soap. And then at some point, you can't make your own lavender soap in your garage. That's not going to work.
Exactly.
But you perfect the recipe and you perfect this. Now you've got to automate it, get the right machines in place, or you're never going to grow.
That's right.
This is the same thing.
Yeah, you can't do every single thing in your business, so you're just going to stay where you are forever.
Exactly.
Like a barber in a barber shop has got a couple of people working for him, but he owns the place and he works there every day. And that's about it.
Mm-hmm. And if he wants to get bigger, now he's got to remove himself from that one barbershop and buy another barbershop and another barbershop and another barbershop and start to franchise.
Right, and then you become a business owner and not a barber.
Correct.
And so that's what we're talking about here. It's good to learn this stuff. You should learn it in the beginning, in the first 10 deals that you do.
Right.
And then more importantly, what I think the show is really about is using our experience, Jill and I, to decide what's okay to automate and what's not okay to outsource or automate. No, I don't care how big you are. There's some stuff I think you should never automate.
Thank you.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landacademy.com online community. It's free.
Ray asks, I heard on the podcast that you guys send out mail every week. I was just curious. How much do you send out each week or month? How many deals does this usually get you? I'd like to hear from others as well as how much mail they're sending and deals they are closing.
Good, simple question, Ray. I love it. I never get tired of this question. I never get tired of data or mail questions ever. Number one, how much do you send out each week or month? For houses, every Wednesday we send out about between 2,000 and 5,000 units, which buys us out 1 to 2 houses per market. There's lots of markets. For land, here's the glaring truth. The vast majority of the acquisitions that Joe and I do are from the millions and millions of mailers that we've sent out since the early 2000s. That said, and we do a lot of deals, and I'll explain that in a second in question too. But we do now do very specialized infill lot mailers and like ranch type mailers where we try to make between $10,000 and $100,000 a deal. And we don't send as much out, and we do probably one of those deals a month-ish, maybe one, probably every month and a half we do a deal like that. How many deals does it get you? Well, if you listen to the show with any regularity at all, the numbers are like this. For rural vacant land, and generally for infill lots, about 300 to 500 units is going to get you an acquisition. So you spend $250 to make pretty good money on one deal. For houses, it's closer to 2,500 to 3,000. Our numbers are a little bit lower because we really know how to scrub data. But again, the math really works there. And then for like ranches and some specialized types of property, the yield goes a lot higher, but the properties that you can get back are stand-up triples and home runs. What? So I guess if I were asking my questions to me, I would say, Steve, why don't you just do the home runs?
Why don't you just do the home runs?
So, what's going on? I smell nail polish.
Nope.
Why put all the risk into that?
Yeah, why?
I mean, do you want to be Sammy Sosa or do you want to be Ted Williams?
I know.
You want to have the best batting average in the league by hitting singles in the history of baseball, like Ted Williams does?
Yeah.
Or do you want to just hit home runs and sign autographs? And for some people, they just want the home runs, and that's fine.
It's scarier. I'd rather have a safe bet.
Me too,
it's
man.
Like I talked about people that are like, okay, I'm just starting out. I have $10,000 of acquisition funds. Should I buy 1 or 10? And we all know the answer. Let's do 10. You haven't done any yet. So do we want to worry about 1? I don't want to worry about 1. Put all my thoughts and energy and money into one deal. I want to do a couple deals. And if heaven forbid, things do happen. I goofed one up and I overpaid or something silly. Who cares? The other 9 will take care of it. I'm still making money. We're good. And I learned, and I won't do that again.
Who wants to put all their eggs in one basket? No one.
Right.
And then finally he says, I'd like to hear from others on how much mail they send out and what they're yielding. It's really funny. We get a lot of very engineering, accounting type people in our group. And about a year ago, a guy sent Jill and I an email, and he did a huge analysis on sending out mail for back tax property and versus just sending it out, scrubbing it like we teach. And he said in the end, he spent more money on the mail doing it our way, but he also did more better deals for more money.
Yeah, because he sent more offers.
My point is,
the yield.
You can dig as deep as you'd like on this, but the numbers I just gave you, it's what everybody does. It's just, that's it. That's about it.
What's cool about this, too, is if you, listener, want to see what other people said, go to our online community, go to landinvestors.com, search for Ray, put in some of these keywords here, and see what the other people said if you really want to know what they're doing.
Yep, exactly. Today's topic, land business automation. This is the meat of the show. There's stuff you should outsource. There's stuff you should hire employees for. There's all kinds of ways to make your life much, much easier in the silly little businesses that we have. I know you had a bunch of notes, Joe. What do you think?
Well, I have 3 points. I'll make those first, then we can talk about them. I'll give you my input. 1 is, what can you automate? 2 is, what do you want to automate? And 3 is, if you don't automate, you're never going to get anywhere. So 1 is, what can you automate? Because if this is the question that you should be asking yourself, what if I automate is going to go faster? So what do you think, Stephen?
Well, if we take a couple steps back and really look at the anatomy of a deal without dragging this out, there's a bunch of things you need to do before you actually get the opportunity to review deals, right? There's all the pre-stuff like scrubbing data, getting data, scrubbing data, deciding on a county. Those are critical things that you should not automate and you should not outsource. Jill and I have done almost 16,000 deals, and to this day, those 3 things that I just mentioned are what I do. After that, you send the mail to us and we get it out for you, or wherever you send it. Then the automation starts for me. Mm-hmm. So you send all the mail out, you're going to get phone calls back, you're going to get mail back in the mail. In rare cases, you get a fax or an email back with a signed offer. All of that should be automated. But somebody needs to call that person back, the seller, right? Mm-hmm. I personally don't think you should automate that. Mm-hmm. And I think, do you agree?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So that's what Jill and her staff do. Mm-hmm. And they put the deal together, but then it's over.
Right.
Everything else after the acquisition, the point of acquisition that Jill does is now 100% automated. The sales, the posting, the HTML, the internet presence, and all of that.
Meaning you shouldn't be doing it.
I don't think.
Or you have a person, or you really have it really set up mass uploading and things like that you can do them all at once really fast, and your team does it.
That's how we do it. I think that if you're on your 11th deal or you've done 10 deals, you should really hyper focus. Forget about delay doing the next deals that you're doing, and really automate this process, because mm-hmm. you could get it to a point pretty quickly where all you do is scrub data, mm-hmm. pull in scrub data. You don't answer the phone on the inbound stuff, but you actually put the deal together, one person, mm-hmm. and you could do 2, 3, 10 deals a month, mm-hmm. and have this all outsourced.
Mm-hmm. One little thing an example what you could automate right now, like you're talking about, you picked a county and we talked about this a couple shows ago. What if I downloaded 30,000? I decided to go crazy and lock myself up in my office for the weekend and review 30,000 lines and get offers together and all that good stuff. But you don't want to send out 30,000 units at once. You could automate that, and actually you could do it with offers to owners. We have a way that you could send it to us at once, and we'll leak them out how you want them to. So, and then that is automated. Now you're backed off, and you set a calendar reminder for yourself for 90 days from now. Do it again. How nice is that? You just automated that job for 3 months.
So think about what Jill just said. 30,000 units for land, and we say 1 for 300. Mm-hmm. buys your property. So you spent a weekend, or whoever, you're a business owner, you spent a weekend doing this. You're going to buy what? 30,000 divided by 300. However many properties that is. It's a lot of work. You do not want to send out 30,000 letters
at one time
unless you have all this stuff worked out.
Right.
But you could theoretically do it, and we've done stuff like this. Early on in my career, I didn't have a staff, so I would do things like that. But I quickly learned.
Yeah.
You can't do it on your own.
No, it's hard. So my next thing is, what do you want to automate? And this is, for me, is stuff you can't stand. Recording, doing deeds. I mean, seriously, think about this.
Show.
Well, no. That's hilarious. Yeah, just like now. Just kidding.
That's hilarious.
That's not what I meant. Recording deeds, not the show.
Yeah, you never want to do that.
Funny, Stephen. But yeah, can you imagine? You think this is Jill sitting here? This isn't me. I've automated this. This is from the other day, and it's my assistant playing it back. So that would be cool. But stuff you can't stand. There's always something. And for some people, it is talking on the phone. And like you said, shucks, you can't automate that, but you could sure hire it out. So think about that too, even though it's not really automation. But there's other things you can do. What else do you have? The stuff that you can't stand, Stephen.
I think that this is a huge problem. It's an ongoing problem for everybody. It's no longer a problem for me because we have the right people working for us, but talking on the phone and dealing with sellers and buyers. Sellers, you can't avoid. You have to talk to a seller. But that's fine. But you do not want to talk to buyers. It's impossible to teach this to anybody until after a couple of years they just realize I'm not going to take calls from sellers anymore. I would rather not talk to a seller and just have the third person who's interested check out online without talking to me. So there's that is to the point where I can't take it any longer. Talking to sellers. Buyers, no problem. I mean, I'm sorry. Did I say this wrong?
You did. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
We understood.
Talking to sellers is imperative. You have to do it. I'm saying talking to theoretical buyers. Yeah.
Because it's hard because there's always going to be a couple tire kickers in there that didn't read everything. And it just happens. So there's a sweet spot there. So that's one thing, like Stephen's saying, you can automate it. You can technically not answer the phone. I do not say do this. But if you wanted to do that, you could not answer the phone on the buyer side and just wait for somebody to check out. I think you'd be missing a lot of stuff there, though.
Especially in the beginning, you don't want to do that.
No.
And if you work on bigger deals, it's no big deal.
Well, hold on a moment. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Can I say this, please? You do it in the beginning like you're just saying, Stephen, but wait a minute. And then you pick out the buyers that you like. Now it could be fun. So let's be honest here. I know, and we both know that there are certain buyers that we like. We've been doing deals with them forever. They are no maintenance. They are legit. They are trustworthy, and we can throw them a deal, and maybe we have a 2-second conversation about it, if that,
That's
and
true.
It's done. So those are okay. So you can get to that point.
I mean, if you've got your business set up where you're only doing, somebody asked a question yesterday or gave an example, I think Matt, about he's going to make $1 million before this is all over. That's really worth working on. So what Jill's really saying is totally true. Really have a good, solid conversation with yourself about what you like and don't like and tailor your business around it. If you want to make a lot of money with not a lot of work, and I'm not exaggerating, that's possible here. It's going to take a tremendous amount of upfront organization and follow through and all of that. So, would not recommend. So we use Pat Live or some version of Pat Live right now to answer the phone, and then to filter it through. So we've gone back and forth on both. Jill's. I don't make these decisions at all anymore. Jill does. She uses some.
We use our own team right now.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Pat Live is perfect if you don't have your own team and you work 9 to 5. You have to have somebody answering your phones. But when you do have your own team, now you don't need that.
You can automate a lot of stuff here. At the bitter end, if you're doing it perfectly, you need to pull your own data and scrub your own data. And you need to talk to people who want to sell their property to you. Those 2 things are very effective. You can hire to talk to people who want to buy their property. You can hire the second part of that out. So that literally when you're at the end, this is where I am in my career. All I do is the mail. And I teach, which takes 98% of my time, and the mail takes 2%. Seriously,
exactly.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah, I agree.
So this whole business about running your business from the beach, if you want, totally possible. And grow it from there.
Yeah. So my final point is, and if you can't do this, if you don't do this, you can't grow. So I have to share this funny thing that was sent to me last week from a guy named Chip Fernandez in Florida. Chip, you had me loving this. He sent me this Facebook Messenger ad, and it said, I saw this and thought of you. 25 years of unscalability, LOL. And what it is this person's ad, and their business is teaching you how to drive for dollars. And I'm like, this is hilarious. It says lead generation for real estate investing. Starting May 31st, you can learn firsthand from my 25 years of driving for dollars experience for only $150 a session. This is hilarious. And he's got his phone number and everything. You get a one-on-one session to drive around with this guy. Hilarious. I'm like, and Chip, you are 100% right. If I'm driving for dollars, could you imagine how many deals? You'd never get anywhere. That's how I find my deals.
It's really important to think big in real estate.
Yeah.
But not be unrealistic. So driving for dollars, all that does is just tie you down to, let's say you do it for 8 hours. You're going to potentially pick up one deal.
If you're lucky.
Or you could spend 8 hours doing a mailer. Yeah. And pick up thousands of deals. Right. And put systems in place to make sure that they're managed. So it's really just too bad. But that's why we're here.
Exactly.
Spread the word.
We're trying to save you. One show at a time.
Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode where we discuss, so you've completed 100 deals, now what?
And we answer your question posted on our free online community, landinvestors.com.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that thing that he sent me. So
me too.
I'm really trying to get back and be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Available on social media. So if you got some stuff, send it my way. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's a great suggestion.
So please do. And it's me reading it, man. So my team's busy. So it's me. If you see a reply that says from Jill, it's really me. So share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you are listening. And while you're at it, please rate us there. We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.